Right. Hi, Kinesiology 1018, Chapter 9, Weight Management. Let's get started. So today we're going to talk about obesity, talk about some of those problems, as well as some strategies towards weight management, weight loss, weight gain. Now that we understand our training processes, training for muscular strength, training for cardiorespiratory endurance, as well as some of those nutrition foundations that we talked about last week, you'll have the opportunity to really understand and really dive into how to manage your weight best that you can for your health as well as the health of those around you. So let's get going, right? So we've talked a lot this semester about chronic disease, talk about obesity. We know that obesity hits everyone. It affects all races, all ethnicities, all ages. So we really need to understand how to manage our weight so that we can stave off a lot of these chronic health concerns. Okay. What we do know is that obesity is linked with chronic disease, and an increase in obesity, even the absolute value of obesity, increases your risk of chronic disease. We'll talk about all those chronic diseases coming up, but we know that these are linked, and if we can manage obesity, we have a better chance of managing our risk for chronic disease. Okay. Body fat percentage is our number one indicator of health. We've used BMI, we talked about waist to hip ratio, we talked about different body composition measurements, but using our BMI, using our waist measurement can give us an indicator of, hey, we're in this risk category, we need to make an adjustment, make a change. Now is a great time to start making a change, even if it's a small change. Okay, because those controllable risk factors, obesity being one of them, and uncontrolled chronic disease that come along with obesity, and this is the thing that we can really control and make a bigger impact on our life. Okay, so let's focus on obesity, let's get into it. Okay, obesity is linked to things like joint disease, like arthritis. It's also linked with cardiovascular disease, cancers, hypertension, respiratory problems, immune system dysfunction. All of these are linked with something that we're talking about right now with this coronavirus, this spread of viral infection. Those with these chronic conditions that are linked with obesity are at a higher risk. So even though it's a risk for chronic disease, it's also a risk for infectious disease, and infectious diseases causing greater issues than they would normally. Okay, so what causes this excess body fat? In reality, it's a math equation, it's balancing, it's calories in versus calories out. Okay, however we balance these in and balance these out can determine if we're going to gain body mass or lose body mass. I know it sounds too simple, it kind of is, but this is the foundation. If we can balance our calories in or calories absorbed and our calories out, calories used to exercise, to move, to live, we calculated our resting metabolic rate. That's our calories out without us moving that whole day. So if you know you're not moving that whole day, you know your resting metabolic rate, that's the calories you should put in to manage your weight for that day. Sounds pretty simple. It is. Let's really work on controlling those in and those out. How we best control those in is controlling our nutrition and our sense of feeling full. So we talked about satiety, we talked about how to balance our food. Proteins and vegetables help us balance satiety or our feeling of fullness the best. So those are what we should focus on controlling and eating first. Calories out, just go move. Okay, move more often. Right now you're probably stuck at home, stuck somewhere. This is a great time to try out some new exercises. I'll probably be posting out some little workouts. If you want to hop in, try them, please do so. Okay, so let's balance those calories in, let's balance those calories out to manage our weight. All right, so with obesity, we know that there are some genetic factors, some things that we can't control, like our body shape. Your parents thank your parents for all of that, but we can control some things beyond that. But we know that if both parents are obese, children have an 80% higher risk of being obese. And if one parent is obese, we know they have a 50% chance of becoming obese also. So your parents are giving you a shot in one or the other direction, but if you know that both of your parents are obese, you have a high risk of being obese also. 80% risk, that's a lot. That's 4 out of 5 children who have both parents are obese will also be obese. So this is your chance. If you know you're in a risk category, it's time for you to make a change to really get yourself out of that chance of becoming obese. Also, if you are obese, this is your chance to make a change and alter that and improve your overall health. Okay? Our actions can balance out those negative risk factors. Okay, so some of those risk factors, if we look at our physiology, how we digest, how we move, how we exercise, how we go about the day, how we feel full, how we eat, things we like to eat, our metabolism or our physiology, what's happening inside of us, regulates how much body fat we have, how our hormones are being produced, how we're storing fat, how we're utilizing fat. So some of it we can't control, but we can play some factors that can maybe push ourselves in the better direction. Okay, because that metabolism is all of our energy, everything we put in, everything we put out, that balancing calories in, calories out equation is our metabolism. So, say you have a fast metabolism, you're probably just not eating as much, or you're moving more. Okay, if you say you have a slow metabolism, you're probably eating more than you're moving, or you're just not moving a lot. Okay, a lot of it really is a little bit of heredity and a little bit of how we move, what we do, what we eat, what we move. So my recommendation right now while you're watching this video, pause, go for a little walk, move around, do some push-ups, do some squats, do something during this video to help you with your overall energy expenditure. Okay. So most of our metabolism is our resting metabolic rate. What you calculated, something like 1,000, 2,000, somewhere in that zone. Those are our calories that we need to basically live. Not do anything, just have our heart beat, keep ourselves functioning and alive. It's not a whole lot, but it does keep us alive, and it's going to be a major component of what we do. It takes a lot of moving to overcome your resting metabolic rate. Okay. And that resting metabolic rate is about 70% of your normal energy expenditure. If you are very sedentary, that number is even higher. That number is closer to 90 or 100%. So, if you're a larger person, you may need to consume more, but you also need to move more also. Okay? Our resting metabolic rate is kind of our foundation, and then we need to move on top of that or make decisions to expend more or not consume as much energy. Okay? Lowering your calorie intake does help with weight loss, and losing weight will help to lower your resting metabolic rate. So larger individuals will often have a higher resting metabolic rate. Okay? If you also try to cut out calories, okay, go on that diet. When you cut out calories, your body cuts out movement or small movements that you're doing throughout the day, like fidgeting, small pacing, things that you're doing. If you cut out some food, your body's going to cut out some movement to keep you at homeostasis, keep you level. Your body wants to stay level. So just cutting out calories isn't the best way to go because you're going to lose out on some of that other energy expenditure. But things like exercise, especially resistance training, even body weight resistance training, increasing muscle mass, increasing your movement, will up your resting metabolic rate because you have to recover. And if you have more muscle mass, it takes more energy to keep that muscle mass there and keep it functioning well. So exercise is our best way to go here. Okay. When it comes into our hormones, hormones play a role in how we accumulate our fat, and it also tells us, hey, we need to store more or we need to use more. Hormones communicate tissues to tissues. So our fat cells communicate with the rest of our body. Okay, leptin is one of those hormones that our fat cells secrete and tell our body how big we are, how much fat is stored. Okay, if you have too much body fat or you are obese from a clinical standpoint, your leptin levels are higher, but your brain is not being responsive to that leptin. So our brain says, oh, you keep sending me the signal, okay. It kind of just goes on the back burner because you've become stimulated to that. Similar with insulin resistance, it's same like kind of a leptin resistance in our brain. So we don't know, or our brain is kind of not caring anymore about how much fat we're storing. This is a real big indicator that, hey, something's wrong. We need to trigger some new change to allow our body to continue to manage our weight in a way that we want it to be managed. Okay? Because those total fat cells, okay, we know we have a certain number and they are a certain size, and that gives us our total fat. Those numbers don't go away very quickly, but we can manage the size. So the first step for us is to either decrease the size of those fat cells or decrease the number. The number is going to stay relatively constant. So attacking the size or utilizing the fatty acids stored in those adipose cells or those fat cells It's our first step to managing our weight. Okay. Okay, another piece of that is our digestion or our gut, okay, where that absorption is taking place. We have bacteria in our gut that allow us to break down food and help us to digest the nutrients. It's okay, you should have this little microbiome, all of these bacteria within your gut. When you consume especially more sugary, okay, more processed foods, that gut microbiome does change. If we're not consuming enough fiber, it changes. If we're consuming more of something like more high protein compared to something that's more plant-based, it's going to change our gut microbiome. We don't know everything about our microbiome yet, but we know that that microbiome in lean or healthy individuals compared to obese individuals is different. And we don't know everything that we need to do yet. It's kind of a growing area in research, but it does play a huge role in how we absorb those nutrients. So, first step I recommend, managing that fiber intake to maybe promote some of that good or that positive gut bacteria. Okay, other things like our lifestyle, okay, your genetics play a role, but when it comes to obesity, not everybody has a genetic risk for obesity. Okay, people aren't made to store large amounts of adipose tissue, yet it's still happening, is happening much more than it used to in the past. But this is probably based on our lifestyle or the things that we're doing. Okay, our energy intake is up. Our calories from low quality food is up about 20% in the last 40 years, which is huge. Okay, think about all the snacks that you buy, all the snacks that are available on the shelves. Okay, you look at how big the produce section is compared to the packaged food section the next time you go to the grocery store. Okay, it's unreal how many snacks we have compared to how many healthy or positive or low processed options there are. We need to understand this, and we need to maybe make a change to affect this. Okay. Our physical activity is also declining. Okay. Even with this entire school closure transition to online, we're getting more screen time. Okay. You're not getting the chance to walk around on campus. Okay. You're spending more time at home, more time watching TV, more time in front of a computer, in front of your phone. Okay. This happens to kids throughout the world, especially in the United States, and it's contributing to obesity, because when you're sitting there watching the computer, you're sitting there watching the screen, and you're like, I'm kind of hungry, but in reality, you probably just want to do something. So food is the easiest thing for us to do. We're like, okay, that helps us feel better. So managing that screen time, I recommend as you watch these videos, stand up and watch the video if you can. Okay, that's just one more step to adding more physical activity, or pause it every couple minutes. Move around, walk around, do some lunges. My challenge to you right now, 10 lunges while you're listening to me talk right now. Okay, ready, go. All right, I'm going to assume that you paused and continued to do those. If you didn't, shame on you, keep doing them. Okay. Other things like sleep we need to pay attention to. Now that you're maybe on a little vacation, you're getting more sleep, which could be huge for you and improving your overall body composition. Because sleep affects our hormones, affects our appetite. You know that 2 a.m., what are you going to reach for? Probably not those carrots. You're going to reach for ice cream, snack foods. I will too. Okay. We want to maybe manage our sleep, because that'll manage our appetite, manage our metabolism. We do expend quite a bit of energy while we're asleep, recovering our body for the next day. Okay. Other psychological factors like binge eating, or emotional eating. Comfort food is called comfort food because it makes you feel better. There's nothing wrong with it, but it can be a distraction from other feelings that you may have. Sometimes you may need to set that down and really think about what you're eating for, why you're eating. I recommend having a little food journal, even if it's just a little notepad. Every time you have a meal, I'll post up some options for those. If you have a little something to write down on. Write down what you're feeling when you're eating, what you eat, how you feel, what you eat, how you feel. It'll help you understand maybe if you're feeling a certain way, you start eating certain foods or eating too much of those foods. How we feel is going to make a big impact on what we eat. Other things like socioeconomic status. Obesity is associated with lower socioeconomic status, and more lean or more healthy individuals are often in higher socioeconomic status. It's very unfortunate, but it's because having a lower socioeconomic status often puts more lower quality options available to you. So things like fast food, convenience stores, you'll see those more frequently in lower socioeconomic areas. You'll see more large grocery stores, Whole Foods, Sprouts, things that are more high quality, more nutritious food grocery stores in higher socioeconomic areas. It's extremely unfortunate, but we need to recognize that that is something that's going on. Because our environment is very obesogenic, or it's promoting obesity. If you look at all the commercials, Burger King, McDonald's, Jack in the Box. When does Jack in the Box commercials come on? Late at night. What do they have? Deals late at night. It's promoting a lower quality food intake all the time. And now that there is more availability for delivery, you're not even going out to go get that food. It's a problem, but we need to think about it, and we need to understand that it's something that's happening. Because our food industry wants to encourage healthy choices. It's not that they're trying to hurt you, but they want to make money, and that's what they sell. They sell high calorie, low nutrient foods. They're calorie dense, nutrient poor foods. If you think about that from a young age, think about when you're a kid, what do they have at those food restaurants? Happy Meals, kids meals. They come with a toy, so you go there when you are a kid, you get that nice fun feeling because you get to go in the playhouse, and then you got a toy. And now you're an adult and you can make that decision. What do you want to do? The place that make you feel good when you were a kid. Think about it. Take a second. Think about all the places you like to go to and why you like to go there. It probably was something that made you feel good as a kid. Think about it, understand it. It's something that's happening everywhere. We need to understand it first before we can make a change. Okay. Also, most of these lower quality foods are cheaper. They're more accessible. High fructose corn syrup is such a high commodity. It means that we're using more land for corn compared to using it for fruits and vegetables, which makes fruits and vegetables much more expensive. We're lucky here in the Central Valley that they're a little bit less expensive. It's a little bit more accessible. There's less transport. But at the same time, hey, if it's easier, if it's cheaper, you're probably going to go for it. It's convenient, it's easy. It's unfortunate, but we need to think about that, understand that, see it so that we can maybe make a better choice. There are some positives. Now we have to have food labels, and other establishments have to have their nutrient compositions for their foods available to the public, which is awesome. It gives you more chances to make more informed choices. If you can make one more informed choice a week, that's 52 a year. It sounds small, but small is the first step that we can do. If we continue to make better choices, we continue to manage our weight much more effectively. Right now is the best time for you to start making those changes, because now you have more power over your own life. As an early adult, this is when you have more freedom, more chances to make your own decisions. You don't have maybe parents or others that are forcing you to have some kind of food because that's what they're buying. It's your chance to make a change. It's your chance to also make a positive behavior change. If you make a positive behavior change and you're the one who makes it, you're more likely to continue with that choice because it's yours. You've made that choice. Now you have the power. You're going to keep doing it. Okay. Now let's talk about eating habits, or dieting and planning this. Okay. Diet is different than dieting. Okay. A diet is your daily food choices. Okay. Your diet is what you eat. Dieting is restricting food. Okay. Oftentimes restricting food, as we know, it lowers our resting metabolic rate, and restricting food is difficult. It's emotionally, it's psychologically, it's physically difficult for our body. Okay, because we do need a certain number of total calories, and the more we move, the more food we're going to need to consume, or more calories that we need. Okay, it's easier to modify our activity first and manage our calories later. Okay, it's going to be a little bit better if we just maintain what we're eating. Even if we don't change what we eat and change what we move, we're going to make an impact. If we change both at the same time, it's often too much for us to maintain and continue with that choice. Okay, because if weight loss is your goal, these are not the foods that you want to reach for first. Okay, increasing physical activity is our first modifiable choice. Okay, first one. Okay, just move a little bit more. So again, I'm going to have you pause, 10 squats, ready, go. Okay, I'm assuming you did those also. Okay, now once we've increased our physical activity, we become comfortable with that physical activity, we can change the types of calories that we're trying to reduce. It may not reduce our total calories, but if we can just reduce something like just added sugars, just refined carbohydrates, just processed foods, just solid fats, these are options for us that are smaller, more modifiable choices for us. So if you just say, okay, we're going to have less sugar today than yesterday. Maybe it's cutting out that daily soda. Maybe it's having only 1 bite rather than 10 bites. Okay, maybe it's just having a handful instead of a whole bag. Okay, whatever it is that you can do, maybe it's just not buying it from the store, okay, or putting it on the top shelf so that it's harder to reach. Whatever you can do to target those first and increase your physical activity, you're going to make a change. Okay, and your body's going to see that change. We can also look at portion sizes as a way to manage our weight. Okay, these 3 plates all have different portions, different amounts of each food. Okay, I talked about in the nutrition lecture that protein is our first one we can modify, and the first thing that we need to pay attention to. If we control protein and we control our fruit and vegetable intake, that's our first step, and we can modify everything else on top of that. So plan your protein intake, and I recommend eat your vegetables or your greens, your colors first, then your protein, and then your carbohydrates. Okay, that order will allow you to feel more full sooner. If you eat more carbohydrates first or eat them as your beginning of your plate, you can consume more, and it's often easier to overeat carbohydrates than it is proteins or vegetables, because protein and vegetables are more satiating. They make you feel full sooner compared to carbohydrates. So maybe you modify how you eat the food, or limit your portion sizes by using a smaller plate. Okay, sometimes it's a little weird, but use a smaller plate. Okay, or use a fork that is slightly smaller, or just set your fork down in between every bite. Okay, you'd be amazed at how much sooner you feel full compared to if you kept the fork the whole time. Also, more conscious eating. So put your phone away when you eat, turn the TV off when you eat, and then focus on how you feel and how that food makes you feel, and take a second between each bite. So fully chew, swallow, take a breath before your next one. Okay, you'll notice soon that that limits the amount of food that you can consume in that one sitting. Try it. There's small steps. Pick one. Don't try to do them all, but pick one and try it out. Okay. Now we look at those quality of food. As I just talked about, some certain foods, just because there's more of them doesn't mean there's more calories. 1 cup of spinach has about 30 calories. Okay, that's not very much. It's very nutrient dense, calorie poor, compared to foods like processed foods, fast foods that are very calorie dense, nutrient poor. Okay, so plan those nutrient rich foods first, and then if you're going to have ones with less nutrients, have them at the end of your meal. Okay, plan that order of your meal. It sounds kind of weird or sounds kind of odd to plan how you're going to eat those meals, but try it out. Eat those proteins and vegetables first, carbohydrates, fats second. Okay. Other ways we can replace our sugars with fruits. Okay, maybe you buy apples instead of candy bars. Okay, add vegetables to every meal is an easy, simple one that we can add, even if it's frozen vegetables. Okay, I know right now you're probably stocking up on food, or you don't have the opportunity to go and get fresh food as often. It's okay to have frozen vegetables. Okay, frozen vegetables maybe aren't as good as fresh vegetables, but they're better than no vegetables. Okay, better is still better. Okay, you can use those vegetables as snack foods. Okay, and then let's be conscious of our beverages right now. Okay, next time you reach for a beverage, I challenge you, okay, this week, all of your meals, have a glass of water first, or have a glass of water with the meal. Okay, it sounds odd, but have that glass of water. You may not even reach for that other, maybe more calorie dense beverage like a soda or a juice. Okay. Other things like how we organize our calories. Okay. Eating every 3 to 4 hours with smaller portions may work for you. Okay. But having a regular pattern right now, you probably don't have the regular pattern that you were used to during school, where you would eat at certain times and you would eat certain amounts. Now you maybe have full access to all of those snack foods that maybe you didn't before. Challenge yourself, okay? Modify how you're going to eat. Maybe you only eat at certain times of the day. You just skip the snack. Or maybe have more of your calories early in the day, less in the evening. Okay, plan something out. Maybe you have more of them in the evening, and then you maybe have a longer fast in the morning. Maybe you don't have breakfast. It's okay to not have breakfast. Okay, I regularly skip breakfast. I normally eat my breakfast around 11. That's just what feels good for me. That's my regular routine. Okay, I often don't feel as good if I eat as much earlier in the day. If you're trying to gain weight, eat more calories sooner, eat more throughout the day. Okay, if you're trying to lose weight, maybe you need to space out those meals a little differently. And then move more, exercise more. Okay, I challenge you this week to walk a total of 3 hours. However you want to do that for the week, I challenge you 3 hours. Okay, if that's just 10-minute intervals and it's inside your house, still counts. Okay, if it goes outside, you walk for an hour straight, still counts. Okay, I challenge you 3 hours of walking this week. Okay, because more physical activity, more exercise is the best approach rather than only modifying our calories. Okay. Any small way that we can increase this physical activity, even if it's just walking, like I'm challenging you to do, you could put this little lecture in your phone, you could put your ear pods in, and you can go on and go for your walk and listen to the lectures. Another option for you. Okay, maybe it's just doing more housework, cleaning. Okay, your family or your roommates probably appreciate it if you just get up and start cleaning. And it's more physical activity for you. You're helping yourself and you're helping your environment. Okay? Because right now we don't have access to as many gyms. Most of those are closed. You can still exercise on your own. You can still exercise in your house. You can exercise in your yard. You can exercise. Maybe you just plan with your family, hey, we're going to do this. Okay, sometimes you have to force them, but if you have someone else helping you, it often will get more results, especially in the long term. How you feel also affects how you eat and how you move. Okay, if you feel more confident or you feel less confident, it's going to affect how you move. If you are more confident in your abilities, you're more likely to move more. If you have lower self-esteem, especially lower self-esteem related to body composition, body weight, you're less likely to move, less likely to exercise, less likely to make a change because you don't feel like it's going to work. Positive self-talk is the first step that I challenge you to do. You can do it. Okay, I promise you can do it. Okay, you can do something, even if it's small. I want you to pat yourself on the back every time you do it. Okay, give someone randomly a high five or an air five right now because you're not supposed to touch anybody. Or just give yourself a self five. Okay, or just send me an email and say, hey, I did this. I'm happy to give you some support also. Okay, because having that positive self-talk, you're your first step to motivation. Okay, your self-talk, yourself saying, hey, I can do this. Hey, I can. Okay, positive self-talk, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. Anytime you feel like you are telling yourself you can't do this, put up a big stop sign in your brain. Okay, just visualize a big stop sign and pick something positive to say. I can do this. I am improving. I'm doing something now. Just stopping that negative self-talk is a positive step forward. Okay, own those small moments. Care about those small moments. Okay, and if it causes stress, especially right now where we are often a little bit more stressed because we don't know what's happening, we don't know where we're going, we don't know what we have to deal with. Okay, I recommend every time you're stressed, 10 push-ups. Okay, I challenge you right now to 10 push-ups. Okay, even if they're modified or you're doing it off the wall, off the table, off a chair, whatever they are, I challenge you 10 push-ups, ready, go. Okay, great job. Okay, keep it up. All right, so we need some of those appropriate strategies like exercise, having a hobby, yoga, stretching, managing our time now, especially more than ever because you don't have structure. You have to create your own structure. Create a plan where you box out time. Okay? I recommend having a schedule, even though you don't have things that are planned. Create a schedule. Give yourself those open times and say, hey, I'm going to study at this time. Hey, I'm going to do this assignment for this amount of time. Because you need to create your own structure. Because if you have no structure, you're more likely to either not exercise or overconsume some food because you're bored and you don't know what to do, so you grab those snacks. It happens. Okay? It happens to more people than just you. So understand it, think about it, and plan your day out. I recommend every morning. I do it every morning. I create my schedule for the day, my to-dos, when I'm going to do things, what I want to do. Okay? Plan out that schedule. Okay? All right, so how do we do it? What do we do? What's the chance? What's the thing? What do we do now? Okay? You have to do it yourself. No one else is going to do it for you. I'm sorry, I can't do anything for you. I can only tell you what you might want to do or give you some options. You have to make those decisions yourself. Okay? If you want to lose weight or need to lose weight, you have to make that change. You have to care about that more than you care about foods, more than you care about watching TV, more than you care about doing sedentary activities. You have to care about your health more. That's your choice. I can't make that choice for you. Okay, but if you do combine some little challenge your food intake modestly, okay, small increments, maybe it's just one of those strategies like setting your fork down or eating your vegetables first, okay, is a step forward. It's a step in the right direction. And exercise. Okay, plan some kind of exercise or some kind of physical activity into your day. And if you have more free time now, plan it multiple times. Okay, maybe it's go outside. Maybe it's just go for a walk. Maybe it's go check the mail. Okay, maybe it's just stand up for a show, sit down for a show. Whatever you're planning to do, if you're binge watching Netflix in between doing your lectures, or maybe you're doing them at the same time, you're listening to a lecture and watching something on TV, I caught you. I see you're doing that. Okay, well, I can't see it, but I know you're doing that. Plan some exercise in there too. Okay. We can also set some reasonable goals. Okay, 6 months, okay, somewhere around 5 to 10% is reasonable. It's achievable. You can do it. Okay, rapid weight loss. Often those first 2 weeks you may have really rapid weight loss, or you try really rapid weight loss and then you bump back up to more than you were before. Not the way to go. Let's think about long-term change. Go back to that nutrition lecture and plan out those calories that you plan to consume and plan out how much you need. Plan how much you need, modify your movement, and then look at those realistic weight loss goals per week. Okay? Plan for that realistic goal as your goal. And even if you don't achieve it 1 week, reset, plan it for the next week. Okay? It's okay to not achieve one of those goals in 1 week. Maybe it takes 2 weeks. Okay? Maybe that's just you. Okay? Because realistically, a pound of body fat is 3,500 calories. That's a lot of energy. But if we can move 500 more calories a day, or maybe walk around more so that you use 500 more calories per day rather than cutting out 500 calories, 7 days, that's 3,500 calories. Right there, that's a pound. It's simple math. You just have to do it. So if that's not modifying your food at all, but walking 1 mile a day, okay, that's a way to do it. Okay, walking 1 mile costs about 100 calories. Yeah. Okay, so add in some more movement, add in some more exercise, and get 500 more calories out a day if you're trying to lose weight. Okay, those really rapid weight loss options are often just water loss. Focus on real chronic weight loss, real long-term weight loss. Okay, if it doesn't work in the first 3 weeks, first 4 weeks, first 6 weeks, modify your plan and keep working on it. Okay, find out what might be limiting you. Okay, find out if it's maybe your time management. Right now, time should be free for you. Okay, maybe you plan a little bit more in that time. Okay, because we want to maintain this weight loss long term. We don't want to just lose it and then bring it right back. Okay, sometimes you may need to look at having someone help you. Okay, I know there's a lot of coaches right now looking for people to help because they can't help them in the gym. They're happy to help them in some digital format. Okay, if you're interested, I can help reach you to some people that do that. Okay, but personalize a plan. Even just use that nutrition lecture and maybe plan something out for yourself. Okay, take control of it, own it, and do it. Okay, if you plan to use some kind of diet book, okay, or find something online like a diet book, if it doesn't have a balanced approach, if it says trick, if it's not something about long term, if it's not about healthy long term, it's probably not the best book for you. If it just says lose weight in 30 days or lose something in some short period of time, 12 weeks to the best body, it's not. They're trying to take your money. Reject those that have unbalanced ways of eating, like not controlling those calories into a normal distribution like we talked about in the nutrition lecture. Something like a cabbage or a grapefruit diet, or carbs only, or something crazy where it's carnivore diet. If that works for you, it's probably not going to work forever. Balanced eating is the best approach. If it says secret to success, the secret is calories in, calories out. Modify your protein. Control your protein intake, control your calories in, and control your calories out. That is the scientific breakthrough. If they say there's anything else, everyone would know about it. Okay, that's the trick. Okay, if you want some hack, it's probably coming from a hack. Okay, think about what you're trying to do. Any kind of gimmick, okay, just stay away from them. If you're looking on Facebook and it says, ooh, quick weight loss. We know that quick weight loss is not true weight management. Okay, don't look for the shortcut, look for the long-term solution. Okay, if it says quick or advertiser burn, okay, fat doesn't burn in your body. You actually breathe out carbon dioxide, which the carbon in carbon dioxide comes from those foods, especially fats and carbohydrates. So me going, I just blew out a bunch of carbon dioxide. Those carbons came from the energy that I metabolized for my resting metabolic rate. So do something that helps you breathe more. You'll probably use more fat for energy or more carbohydrates for energy. You use carbohydrates, you use fat, you don't burn it. Okay, there's no furnace in your stomach that's burning everything out. Okay, if they say quick weight loss hack, if it says hack, it's from a hack. Okay, we don't like to deal with hacks. They're trying to trick us, steal our money. There's probably a lot of those out right now. Okay, if you look at some kind of meal replacement, okay, sometimes they work, but especially in the short term, because if anybody's tried one of those, they start to get old really quick and you start to not want to eat them anymore. Okay, it probably works as a way to kickstart that diet, but remember, diet is your food choice overall. Plan a healthy, balanced food choice with colorful vegetables, colorful fruits, 1 gram per pound of protein, and total calories managed with what you expend. Okay, there's no trick. It's really just taking the time and making the effort to plan it out for yourself and to stick to it. Okay, stick to it. Okay, if you use some kind of supplement, remember we talked about supplements in the nutrition lecture. Supplements are maybe effective, maybe, but we know that there aren't as many regulations on supplements. Okay, the FDA does not regulate supplements. So what they say is in there might be in there, so pay attention. Okay, other things like especially appetite suppressants, controlling how you eat your food, like vegetables and protein first before carbohydrates, or setting your fork down, will help suppress your appetite. You'll feel full sooner. If you're trying to lose weight, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to feel kind of hungry. Eating to 80% full is better than taking any kind of supplement that is supposed to help you lose weight. Okay. Some popular supplements you might see, if it says fat absorber, you can't have something absorb your fat. Remember, we use it as an energy source. Fat blockers, you can't put some offensive linemen into your gut to have them block fat. Or starch blockers, okay, if they're trying to use these gimmick terms to get you to buy their product. Okay, my recommendation, if you need a multivitamin, other than that, balanced diet with all of your different colored vegetables, different colored fruits, controlling your protein. Okay, I'm just going to keep repeating it, but it's the best way to go. Okay, there are some other options like weight loss programs. Okay, there's other things like non-commercials. Okay, things like Overeaters Anonymous, Take Off Pounds Sensibly, different support groups that aren't going to give you advice, but they're going to help you. I do recommend just find someone to help go on this journey with. Plan it as a long-term process, okay, that you plan to do forever, not something that's a short term. If you think it's short term, the results will be short term. Okay, other commercial weight loss, okay, things like this class is going to help you in controlling or understanding what you're doing. Okay, understanding is nutritional education is the first step to making nutritional change. Okay, but be reasonable, be safe, plan it out as something you're going to do long term because you want long term results. If you want short term results, it's going to give you a short term result and then it's going to give you a long term dissatisfaction. So plan the long term. Okay. If you go into a clinical weight loss program, you probably have to be in a clinically dangerous population, or if you need prescription drugs, you're probably in a situation that is kind of where it's at risk to your health immediately. But often they're going to tell you that you need to exercise first or have behavior change before they'll prescribe those to you, or at least they should. If you go to a doctor and they prescribe you some kind of prescription drug before changing your nutrition and changing your exercise, they're probably not in it for your best health, because those are the two steps that are going to give you long-term results. And long-term results are what we're really looking for. There are some where surgery is necessary, okay, where they have an abnormally large, clinically obese population. Okay, this is the area where surgery may be recommended, like a bariatric surgery. This is when they shrink the size of your stomach so you feel fuller sooner. You can't consume as much food. These don't have as many long-term results because some patients can't handle the rapid change, because that is a very rapid change to your food consumption. A long-term, it could work, it might work, but the best chance is make a change and plan it as a long-term change. If you're really trying to lose weight, make it a long-term change where your goal is at most 50 pounds per year. Okay, at most. Maybe planning a pound every 2 weeks is probably a good way to go. Okay, there's other surgeries like liposuction where they stick a nice large needle in and suck out those adipose tissue cells. Not a very comfortable procedure, and it's not going to change your behavior, so it's probably going to come back. Unfortunately, there's no quick fix. If there was a quick fix, everyone would do it, everyone would have it, but there's not. Okay, if you need help with weight management, maybe you have an eating disorder, disordered eating, or you know someone who has a disordered eating pattern. I know people with disordered eating patterns who have gone through it. Therapy is the best option. Okay, talk to someone, find someone you can talk to. Okay, because body image does disrupt your weight management goals. Okay, if you have a body image, maybe you don't like your body image right now, or it's causing you to change your behaviors in a negative path, maybe towards disordered eating patterns like binge eating, things like anorexia, bulimia. These are situations, I know many people that have gone through it. It's not something that you want. It's not something that you want someone around you to go through. Okay? Finding therapy, finding someone to support you, even if it's just someone to say, hey, I'm here for you, that means a lot. So if you have a friend or you know someone who is going through maybe a body image time where they don't have a positive body image, or they're going through a disordered eating pattern, just be there for them. Don't tell them they're wrong. Don't tell them they're doing something wrong. Just be supportive and say, hey, I'm here for you. Whatever you need, I'm here for you. We can get through this. You're going to make it. Okay, being positive, being a supportive person in their life is going to make the biggest impact. Just be there to support them. Okay, because severe body image problems, okay, the statistics here about 2% of Americans. It's probably much more than that. People just don't want to say. It's something that we need to really think about. Okay, but you can make a change no matter what the pattern is right now, and understanding your limits, understanding that it's a long-term path. That's where we need to go. If you are wondering if you have disordered eating, or you may know someone who has a disordered eating pattern, if they don't like the way they look, or they change their eating, or they stay away from foods, or just reduce foods, or consume over amounts of foods at certain times, they may have a disordered eating pattern. It is a mental disorder, mental condition. I don't like to use the word disorder because it makes it seem like it's a problem or something's wrong with you. It's a condition. You need to go, and you have a physical condition, you go see a doctor. If you have a mental condition, go see a doctor that's there to help you with a mental condition. Please go talk to someone. They understand and they will help you. They're there to help you. Okay? Things like anorexia, where you're not consuming enough food, you're limiting, starving, stopping consumption, can cause issues to cardiovascular system, hormonal system, reproductive system. It's going to, if you have someone who has a rapid change in body weight very, very quickly, just tell them that you're there for them and maybe find some support that could help them out. Bulimia is when there's purging post binge eating, so consuming too much and then feeling bad or angry or disappointed that you consumed too much, and then binging and then purging, or getting rid of all of that food out of your stomach. It can cause major esophageal issues, tooth decay, reproduction issues, other cardiac problems. Okay, it's going to cause major issues long term. Be supportive. I've known people who've gone through both of these. Be supportive. Just tell them you're there for them, and it's a long-term process to change, but be supportive. Okay, if you have binge eating disorders where you're consuming too much and you have uncontrollable binging, uncontrollable binge and purge, find some help. Find someone to talk to about it. You have support systems on campus that can help you. The counseling center can help you. You have sessions. They could probably do it virtually now. I'm not sure if they're doing virtual now, but I'm pretty sure they are. Go talk to someone. Just say, hey, I want to chat. Even if it's just talking to them for a little bit, and even if you don't even get to what's really the root of the problem, just talking about it a little bit can maybe help you feel that there is someone there for you, because there are, and we can help you. Okay. If you have other eating disorder, disordered eating patterns, okay, it may just be your relationship with food is not the way you want. Okay, we should all have a positive relationship with food. Food is great. Food is good. Food is there to help us live and help us thrive. So understand your food, and understand the food is not out to get you. Okay, it's not, I promise. And understand that you should be happy with your food and have a good relationship with food. It's hard, it's difficult, but have that relationship and think about what you're eating. I recommend that little food journal when you eat. Write down how it makes you feel. That might be the first step to understanding, hey, there might be an issue and I may need to talk to someone about those issues. Okay? Because sometimes it may cause guilt, it may cause some changes. Think about it, understand it, and then let's find someone who can help you through that process. Because you do need to have someone there to help you with it. Okay? Don't try to go through it alone. You may need medication, you may need behavior change, you may need just support with that behavior change. Talk to someone who is a therapist, someone maybe through our counseling center here at CSUB, who can help you through this process. Okay?